Hello. Hey, hi everyone. Good morning. Hello. Guys, you're able to hear me, right? Just raise your hand in case if it's clear and audible for you. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Okay. So, welcome and good morning, everyone. Okay. So, this session, I believe you might have already signed up and know the schedule and the syllabus, what we are going to cover, right? So, welcome to the Oracle SQL and PLSQL session. And okay, before we start in, I'll try to share my screen. You're able to see my screen, right? Okay. In case you have any questions or anything in between, just ping me over the chat window. I'll try to answer those questions for it. Okay. Yes. And welcome to the session once again. So today we are going to start with our um, introduction session on the Oracle SQL and PL SQL. And probably you can not sure if you guys can unmute yourself and uh, use it for communication. But in case if there is an issue, you can clearly use the chat window to just let me know in case you have any questions or clarifications during the discussion. Okay. So this is batch 318 of Oracle SQL and PL SQL. And in case you have any help or support during the call, just reach out to our support team, and you have the numbers displayed over the screen as well. You can reach out to them during the work hours which are mentioned, and they'll be happy to help you out in this session. And please do join our WhatsApp community link, which was shared with you. Probably you might have the link already. And in case you don't have it, just type in over the message. I'll try to give it over the chat as well. In case you have any other details or interest over the courses and others, please do join the links. Probably you might have it already, and so you can go through the new courses or schedules which are available for it as well. Cool. Okay. Okay. We are starting with the Oracle SQL and PL SQL session. So part of the schedule today, we're going to have a basic introduction onto the databases. When you talk about databases, we pretty much like many people tend to cover a lot of things as a database and a database management. There's obviously a lot of difference between these two, right? So when I say database, it's all about the data, what we are going to discuss, right? And when we say database management or management services, it's all about how we are going to manage your data and how you are going to make sure that uh, this data or information which you are capturing is reliable, trustworthy, safe, and secure as well. So it's you can treat this very simple to your let's talk about simple notebook. When you go to a class, right, you tend to take down your notes. It can be a piece of paper, it can be a book, anything which is available in hand for you. Sometimes you write it on a piece of newspaper as well. Sometimes we write it as a rough notes as well. That's fine. That's well and good. Nothing wrong in it. But till what extent are you going to use that information, right? Now, let's say you're on a phone call and someone gives you a mobile number, or maybe any sort of number or anything, right? You generally take down your pen, which is pen or pencil, write down a simple newspaper as well, which most many of us do it. Now, the information whatever you have captured, the lifetime of the information is only till you disconnect the call, maybe save that number or call the other person, or whatever the purpose you need to do with that. It's a very maybe a minute of lifetime, maybe 5 minutes of lifetime. If you need that information for maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe a down, you potentially might take down a diary or your notepad and note it down where you can access it a later point. Now, same concept. Whatever we have been doing from the start, from your childhood, and we do it now as well, you pretty much can continue with it, right? I think I have someone raised your hand. Karthik, Karthik, can you have any question, Karthik? Hey, Karthik, you have any question? Not sure if you can use your mic. Probably you can type in the message over the chat window as well. I'll try to help you out or answer it in the session. Cool. Okay. Now, as we're talking about information, right? It it the information what we are going to work with, or the course we are going to work with, is about Oracle, which is nothing but a digital information. And when I talk about digital information, you pretty much know how much amount of data we're going to deal with and how much amount of data we're going to handle it every day. It's not just one time activity like what we note down in a piece of paper. You need a book, probably you might need a notepad, you might need a library itself to have that sort of information. Now, when I say data in real time, it's all about information. It may be small, it may be big, it should be accessible, secure, and modifiable for anyone in your organization, right? Be it organization, be it home. When I say organization, doesn't mean that big organizations or enterprises. It can be a small company as well. It can be a small scale business as well. We want to make sure that information should be accessible to anyone, safe and secure based on their level of access which is required. And part of this, when I talk about access, we would come up in the next further sessions on future sessions as well, because moment I say access, people will say, oh, is it accessible for everyone, or why should it be accessible for everyone, right? There are multiple things here, right? In terms of technicalities, in terms of functionalities as well, where we see through, like access, it should be publicly accessed, it should be privately accessed, or it should be confidentially accessed. There are going to be like multiple subsections in each and every level once again. So the database, what we are going to learn as part of this course is we're going to learn how I can store the data digitally, how I can access it, how I can modify it, how I can use that data. Many times, these you might have tons of databases, you might have tons of different formats, right? The essence of something working or not working, it depends on whether it is useful or usable. There can be thousand things around us, thousand technologies, thousand systems, which we feel useful. But out of these thousand, part of my day-to-day life, I potentially might use only 5 to 10 systems or 5 to 10 applications, which are actually usable. So your 90% of your time in terms of your day, your productivity, your lifelong, whatever it is, what are those 90% of the things or the information or the systems you access it? So these are the usable systems. Same way in the organizations as well. There are lakhs of employees, okay, and be it outside the market. When I talk about e-commerce or social platforms, there are like crores of millions of people who use your platform. Some people might access the data. Some people might create the data. Some people might market the data. Right? So out of this, there would be few essential factors which would drive the usability of the application as well. You take up Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, or anything in social networks, or in terms of the work, you should be able to have it and use it. Right? So that's the main core factor what drives the usage of data, capturing the data, and the usage of the data as well. We would learn how with the databases we are going to do that, because everything whatever we are going to do in a digital space or the virtual space, any byte of information is a data for you, is an information for you. It has to be stored in one or the other form somewhere in your ecosystem. Only then the other members or other systems can access it. So eventually, what brings you down the topic, the database, is the core foundation or the backbone of your digital ecosystem completely. You want to use a web application, you want to take the feedback from customer, it's a data, it's information. Anything you see on screen, it's information. It has to be stored somewhere in order to process it. Maybe the Zoom call, what we are discussing right now. All right. As I talk through, the information gets processed, gets stored, gets processed, gets transmitted over to you. The data is eventually being converted into the digital information. If we record this session, obviously it's going to be saved somewhere. That's nothing but the information in a large amount or a small amount. And as we are talking through this thing, right? Why databases are required. Now, let's talk about very simple use case, uh, because most of us, there might be multiple applications you use in a day-to-day life. There might be few common applications which we use, right? Now let's take about simple e-commerce, which most of us might know. Take example of Amazon. Amazon itself is an organization, right? It's a platform. So they don't sell anything directly to you. They sell it through they work as a third party platform where they give a platform for you where the sellers can register what products they are going to sell, and buyers can register, and eventually they can see what all products are available for a particular name or availability, and I can purchase it online. So that this Amazon provides as a platform. So how does that work out? When I have the information, right, I stored, okay, I have a pen, I need to provide what all the different information of a pen a typical person would require. Maybe a blue pen, a black pen, or an ink pen, or a ball pen. There are multiple categories I define it, right? I should be able to capture it. And does it just enough if I capture the information? I should be able to mold the information so that people can easily understand, people can easily use it to browse the information, right? So that's what the platform does. We are collecting the data. We're not just sitting idle after collecting that. We are modifying, transforming into a usable data. What is the purpose of it? Why should Amazon do that? That's where the business process come into picture. So they want to make sure customers can access any product available anywhere in quick time. So I shouldn't be able to searching year long or month long in the market for a product. I should be able to get that in fraction of second by searching it. Simple. Now I should be able to eventually what it comes is I should be able to understand what customers are buying. That's when I can make sure that they are getting the right product at the right time. You might have seen few years back, we did not have the same day delivery or the 2-day delivery sort of thing. But as we progressed, we got lot of these new improvements in the supply chain. That's where they understand the data. How, at what times customers are purchasing what sort of products. Now, not just displaying the product information to customer, they are trying to understand, get some metrics out of it, which will tell, okay, now this is a festival time, people potentially can order these sort of products based on my previous historical data. Eventually, this platform helps intimating the sellers as well that potentially this is the graph what we have seen, and suppliers can get benefit. They can keep the product ready as well to certain extent so that they can sell it, they can ship it faster. What happens eventually when you want something, you get it instantaneously. The next time you pretty much go to the same place where you can find the product easily and you can get the product easily. Now, all the information, right? Now, what happens here? You have customer database, you know what is the customer email ID, phone number, you know what payment I am using, credit card, bank account, or UPI. Okay. But all the information of customer is not known to the seller. Same way, what bank account seller is using, what email ID seller is using, do not know as a customer. So the information, whatever each individual or each entity in my ecosystem is safe and secure. Only the person who is supposed to access will access the information. What this brings is it brings a trust in the platform where people will not fear to use the platform, and they don't fear to store their credit card or personal details as well. When I say personal details, why would Amazon need to know my home address? Or why would they need to know my mobile number or gender or credit card which I'm using? All this is a personal information, right? So which I don't share with publicly. And is the information available over the public network, or simply I can search in Google? No. That's where you have the trust layer which is built, which will make sure that data is not accessed by unreliable people or untrusted network. This information completely, this process to make sure that we are collecting, we are using the data in the right way, and we are tracking the usage in the right way, and we are keeping the data in a secured, and we are keeping the data in a encrypted as well. Handling everything, how information comes, goes, gets transmitted, everything is what we call as a database management. It's as simple as a library in your school or in your locality or in your college as well. You can go there, you can search any book in your library. There are multiple sections like keeping, let's say, it's a college library, you might find something related to your college thing, right? So I would see like something related to physics, I'll have one section. Mathematics, one section. Maybe a story, fictional stories, one section. You arrange your data, right? And you make sure it's easily accessible. Whoever comes in the library, goes after the library, there is obviously going to be a librarian who is going to check what is coming in, what is going on, where it is getting stored. It's not going to be one person. He's going to have multiple subordinates or helpers who will make sure the data is clear, safe, books are safe, everything is safe. So there are a lot of bookkeeping activity. So what we call them as agents. So we will go through each and every topic as we go one step by step to understand these details. And we talked about a lot of thing about data or databases. Now, it's not the first time, right? It's if we are l- looking through the history or we are knowing about something from previous generations, which means information is getting passed, maybe from your fathers, maybe from your grandparents, maybe much more elderly people as well. Whatever they are sharing is the information sharing. So how is this done? We might have very old, right? We have written using the leaves. We have written the information on stones. We have written the information in form of the pictures, whatever be the type of data. Some sort of method where you can have the information persisting for the next person to read it. Can be a next person, can be next generation, maybe few next decades as well. We want to have the information placed somewhere so that people can access it, people can learn it, people can use it. If something is not usable, then it's not going to stay there for a long time, be it anything. Now, similarly, when we talk about, because as we are talking about digital information, right? Now, how are we storing the digital information? Previously, we used to have these Excel sheets or Word documents or a PDF document or maybe a simple text file. Whenever some meeting is going on, we used to take down the notes on a simple notepad. If you don't have a notepad in hand, we open a notepad in your computer, take down the notes, what's happening, so that you can take some action items of it and you can improve yourself based on that as well. Or you can have some action activities you need to take or act upon after the meeting. Similarly, in a database, an enterprise database, what to talk about, the whole journey started like file based database, a text file, or a CSV file, maybe an Excel file later point. Now, as we talk about multi-user, multi distribution networks, okay, lot of new advancements which came in, be it relational database or a NoSQL object-oriented database, or a cloud database, or a distributor, or a hierarchical database. Each and every problem, whatever we face in our real life, the solution what we identify in our real life is simply replicated digitally over the technology or applications. You can take up anything which you observe outside in real world. You can clearly map that out onto your technology. A one-to-one mapping is literally possible to anything what you learn, any application what you see, any application whatever you use digitally can be replicated onto a physical real world as well. And we will learn through each of these databases as we learn one by one, right? And as we are very much specific to Oracle SQL and PLSQL, we would concentrate more on the relational database. So what is a relational database, right? So we will go through more, but what exactly is relational database? Any information, whatever we store, is treated in simple terms, let's say, as a record, maybe like an employee record or a student record in your college, anything, right? Now, this information, what we call as a record, obviously cannot be very lengthy record which I can show. Let's say if I need to store the data as a person, let's talk about a simple from the government understanding, right? Now, I take a birth, maybe an XYZ year. Okay, I study in some school, I study in some college, I work in one place, again I shift to second place, a third place, fourth place, and then the number of children I might have it, number of grandchildren I might have it. Lot of things will happen as a person. Now, this information, whatever I have it, I cannot store it as data in one page, be it a notebook also. I cannot write that information of a person in one single line. I would need to split that information into multiple parts. Multiple parts so that each and every part has its own individuality, its own identity, and are interlinked to each other. So that interlink, whatever we talk about, is nothing but relational database. So one record has a relation to the other record. The essence of these two records might be different. So that where comes the something similar to you might have seen when you're filling your form, right? You would have something like relation type. Let's say you're married, for example. Okay, now, I have my own uh, what you call a personal information or a personal record in government database. My wife would have her own data as well as the personal record. Now, what is the relation between these two records? Maybe like it's like spouse type. Maybe if my kids come in, it would say like father or maybe mother, or in the reverse way as well. I would say father of XYZ or son of XYZ. The relation between these two, because these two records are independent to each other or single entities. Now, same thing if I go to my college, I would say I have staff, you're going to work. I have teachers, you're going to work. I have administration department or I have an operations department. I have student department. The functionality or essence of each and every thing, whatever we talk about, is different. But together builds what we call as a college. We need to maintain the information of each and everything here, right? And each and everything has its own identity and individuality, but they are related to each other. I'm related to my teacher who is going to teach, so that teacher, I have 50 students under me. But in a college, whenever I talk about, right, relation between a teacher and student is not just a direct relation. It's a indirect relation with the class or subject they are teaching. So the teacher A might teach a social subject in class 3, and the same teacher might teach social subject in class 4 also. So the more and more we understand how the real life things are working, how they are independent to each other, and how they can work independent to itself, right? That's where brings us to the concept of a relational database and the level in which a data needs to be stored. We would come to those concepts as well of how we are going to drill down the data and how we are going to identify that call as end level. In the other databases as well, right? As we talk through each of these concepts, I'll try to give a gist of how these work, and many people, if you know these databases or heard about these databases, might have some kind of what you call uh, uh, very known words with cloud database or distributed database and hierarchical database. Because we might say, sir, Oracle provides a database on cloud as well. It's a distributed database as well. Now, how are these different? Because it's a relational database as well, but it provided on cloud. Or it works on distributed network methodology. We will come through to understand how the data is stored, how the data is accessed, and how the data is maintained in sync between multiple regions or multiple networks. This gets into multiple different parallel routes, and there would be multiple intersections, how these can be combined with each other so that it suits a particular business domain. A relational database might not suit every organization. Very simple. If I look through, let's say, newspaper, or if I look through a social network, only part of the social network ecosystem works on the relational database, not the complete thing, right? If I talk about the enterprise uh, as what you call as an organization which is working, it uses most of the relational database, but it uses less of the NoSQL database. The structure of how we are going to have it, how we are going to distribute it, we will learn one by one as we step on to each and every concept of database. And in case you have any questions or clarifications, again, please do raise your hand or put down your question in this meeting chat window so that I'll be able to answer your question, which eventually is not going to be for you only, but other members who are present in the call might have a similar question, might have some sort of doubt in their mind that would be helpful for them as well. Now, we talked about databases and we have come across just about database management, right? Now, most of the things which I covered, like we have information, we have some software which is running on top of it, which would help maintain the database easily. And what is that system all about? Right? What is the software all about? No, I will not have someone like, as I mentioned about library, right? Someone who is working as a librarian, or someone who is doing the bookkeeping entry, or someone who is working as subordinates or helpers who keeps the data in the right way and all, right? Now talk about when I talk about digital database, it's not going to be a person who is working behind the system who will go through multiple files, do it, right? All these helpers, all these subordinates, whatever we were talking through, you can convert them as multiple jobs or multiple agents who are designed or programmed to do certain set of activities. Simple program. Now, these programs all together binded, we call it as a database management system. It involves the infrastructure, it involves your servers, it involves your network, it involves multiple jobs or agents which are running on the server or the client who would communicate with each other, who would make sure that whenever request comes in, your client on your system should be able to understand what request it is, sent to the right server, and the server agent should be able to understand the information, capture the information, send it back for you. So everything whatever we talked about library or multiple people who are doing it, right? Now Just try to correlate that as a database management system. You will be able to create your data, modify the data, delete the data, or who is accessing the data, who is performing what sort of action. You will be able to track everything because I should be knowing it. Only when I know what is happening, I should be able to improve it. So all these are nothing but the database components. So take it like a database, maybe a simple physical thing, what is lying in your storage space. Database management is the automated system or the application which is designed to do what is required for an user. It can be a SQL query, it can be application, it can be an API, whatever we want to do it. Okay. Now, we talked about database management thing, right? So, as I talk, given a simple gist of what is database, how it is present, and all. This is not something present blindly or a black box somewhere. This is a system which is designed. This is the way it needs to work. Whatever I mentioned, it needs some hardware. Why do we need hardware? It's nothing but it's a device. It needs a storage, it needs some CPU, it needs the machine to run it, run these programs, run these agents based on the rules and criterias which we have defined for the database. It needs to work in that fashion, right? It's nothing but the complete hardware which is running it out. Software, nothing but the application which we have created or designed on top of it to do certain activities top of it, right? All these agents, jobs, functionality, business rules, all are taken care in your software. Will both of these two work independently? Yes. Software is designed as a software. It can do on any system, and hardware is independent to each other. Now, what is the link between that? Is a data. This is the actual matter which is being stored or transmitted or transformed by the software. Now, the data access language. Now, when you started, maybe if any of you done some programming, right? You might have started some basic programming in your college or school, be it C language or a C++ or a Python or maybe a simple what do you call a gaming uh, program which you might have done in your colleges. Any programming language, right? All it does, nothing but your instructions, it converts into a programmatical language, eventually gets converted to the byte information, which would send instructions to the software to how it needs to perform. It has a language. As we're talking about Oracle SQL and PLSQL, the language we are going to learn or we are going to understand is the SQL, systematic query language. Does it only the SQL required for all sort of databases? No. Just like the languages which we talk through, right? Maybe some people might speak Hindi, some people might speak Kannada, some people might speak a different language. They have a particular language which is designed so that people or can understand, transform it to physical action what is required. All right. The same thing. Now I need to talk with a language which my software can understand. In this case, it's a SQL, so that it understands what I am giving, it can perform what activity is required, and it can respond back with the information. Now, there are certain business rules, criterias, functionality which we are talking about, right? So these are called as building blocks of your system. So in our case, we would discuss about some of the PLSQL components. So procedures, functions, packages, lot of things, which are the building blocks of your device or the software. This would define how a functionality need to be controlled, how a functionality need to be accessed, or how a functionality need to be kept in systematic fashion. So all these rules and workflows, whatever it is, we nothing but consider that as a procedures or a workflows, you can also say in some applications. So we would go through each of these things as we learn. We might be focusing more on the data and the data access language, but as we understand these two, we would learn the procedures or the workflows or business rules, how we are going to write it, and then we would learn deep into it, like how it is stored and how the software works and all. We would learn step by step, as first something simple, next little bit, maybe little bit hard, and then the major components of it. So there are a lot of things once we come through the actual usage, like not just on creating the program. We need to make sure the program is sustainable as well. Right now in the market, any program you write it might hardly stay on there for an year or maybe 2 years. That is not sustainable more than that. You need to, based on the usage, based on how the data is growing, based on how the systems are growing, you need to fine tune it. You need to make improvements so that your future generations or the future generation of the data should be withstanding or sustainable for you. So that is nothing but the observability part of your data and improvement or performance improvements of the data. And as we're talking about Oracle, right, which is we would come into the Oracle database in much earlier. So Oracle database, in simple, you can treat as Oracle database management system. And if you talk in the right now with the latest versions or latest technologies, we do call it as autonomous database as well, which is the next default versions which are coming up, right? So it's nothing but the Oracle database in simple terms. So this is proprietary model, which is like, that is why we call it as commercial application as well, which is mostly used in enterprises. And it's not just the only product available in the market. Obviously, we cannot have a monopoly as well in any phase or any industry. There would be other newcomers, there would be new technologies or new systems as well. But Oracle has been there for years long, starting from 1978, 79, when the first version was released, be it in the current generation till 2024, almost for the last 40, 45 years. It's been the market leader in this space, and the number of the huge amount of data it captures, huge amount of data it processes every day. Literally, you have tons and tons of learnings every day as you go through the business. And again, not one database or no one database fits into all everything. Just like you are what you call you go to a buffet, right? In simple terms, you might have like 20 or 30 items available in the buffet. You definitely will not or cannot eat all the 30 items to the satisfaction, or you cannot even taste some of the items as well. So there will be few things which you might like it, few things which most of people might like it. So the common things which pretty much like, if I talk about simple terms, right? Maybe South Indian people might tend to prefer like the rice would be the major consumption to it, or maybe the roti might be major consumption to it, or maybe ice creams might be major consumption to it. Similarly, there each and every thing has a share on like complete usage. Similarly, all the applications whatever we see in the market has a share in the market. It fits into the particular domains or industry types and all. Again, based on your design, how we are going to design it and how we are going to handle or solution your business, there would be multiple combination of databases also. So Oracle is one database. Again, when it comes to relational database, this is the market leader and pretty much have more than like 50 to 60% of the market share worldwide. And SQL, when it comes to SQL, this is the basic to any database you learn. Even after 10 years, even after 20 years, even after 30 years, the way you access information, SQL would be one of the priority to it. Be it analytics, any system you design it, any application is you design it. Backbone when it comes to database, you would see at least 30 to 40% of your technology or code which is written on SQL, because this is the quick and native data access language which a database provides. So we will learn as we go through each and everything, right? And you would understand why I'm saying a native SQL is more powerful than any programming language to talk with. And the latest releases which are available with the Oracle is Oracle 23 AI, which comes up with a lot of AI features added into the autonomous database. I talked about agents, I talked about jobs which are running, right? So you don't, as data grows, as system grows bigger and bigger, these number of agents, number of jobs which you require in your database would be very high, and it may not manage the amount of data as well to make sure it is working in the right fashion. Eventually, new advancements need to be done and new way of handling the systems need to be designed. So there are few futuristic ideas or uh, few POCs, more of research work which is done added onto the Oracle database as well with Oracle 23 AI. And as you learn the Oracle SQL and PL SQL, you would know some of these concepts which we are discussing in terms of database management, in terms of how the SQLs are changed and all. Once we get some understanding, we would understand the next layers as well when it comes to the AI applications. So this, in terms of the relational database, we would consider or we would discuss in the next session. And I would, we are talking about records, individuality, and entities and all, right? And as part of the next topic with RDBMS, we would consider a bit more because we covered most basics onto the database and a very high level onto database management, a little bit onto the RDBMS, multiple types of databases and all. Now, in the next session, we will go deeper because we are at the surface level now. Now, when we want to get deep, I cannot go deep into all the swimming pool, right? I cannot go, no. I will be able to get deep only on one particular section or a topic. So now we are going into RDBMS, and next with RDBMS, we would go into Oracle, and with Oracle, we'll go much deeper into each layer of data management and everything. And we will try to cover each and every topic. And as we understand, there would be few what you call topics which are tried to compare with other databases and how it is done so that you would also have understanding, and if you want to extend your learn new things, you will be able to easily correlate. So okay, I have learned in this way this systems in ABC manner. Now I have a new system, it works in XYZ manner. It's not going to be right. No, I need to map it. Okay, what is A here, what is X here? I should be able to map it, because the fundamental of your data is nothing but creating, updating, modifying, accessing, security. So the fundamental building blocks or structure does not change in any system, but the way I am modifying, the way I'm handling it, the way I'm storing it changes. So we would discuss most of these things in the next session, and so that way you'll have clear understanding and confident when you uh, go through and learn the other database types as well. Okay, so for today's session, we would wind up at this topic of database management and a simple intro as we are learning into the Oracle databases. Okay, okay, we are right on time here. Any questions, any clarifications, please raise your hand or type in or the chat window. I'll be able to happily help you out, or reach out to the support team in case you have any questions or clarifications. I'll be able to help through with them as well in case you need anything as a follow-up. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a nice day. Bye.